How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Well, I tried to time the market and I lost out on about $20,000 worth of gains. Before I begin, this video is sponsored by Webull. From the May 21st promotion, I have a winner that I want to announce from there whose username is Zid. This person won a share of WMT, which is Walmart, valued at $124. Now, if you guys are interested in getting your own Webull account, this is a completely free trading account. You can sign up, and as long as you deposit $100, this is still your money that you can trade with. You can get 2 free shares of stock, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can liquidate it, you can keep it if you want. Check out my referral link down in the video description below. I still believe that the stock market has a good potential of it going down. I'm gonna outline some of these risks in this video. Now, I'm completely aware that when I try to time the market, I may not catch it perfectly. There are sayings in the comment section. Some people like to say, scared money don't make no money. And there's another saying that timing the market doesn't work for most people. Time in the market is much better than trying to time the market. Now, let me just acknowledge this, okay? And I'm trying to do something just completely crazy. I am going against the normal conventions of what 99% of the investors out there should do. So far, you can say it didn't work out for me because, after all, the stock market just kept on going up. I sold every single stock I had around May 8th or so. It has gone up by about 5%. Knowing that I have at least 400K of investable assets, both in my retirement account and my brokerage account, this represents, if I had it all invested in the S&P 500, which is something I wouldn't do, but if I had all that invested, I would have gained about $20,000 just from letting it sit all this time. Now, in reality, I actually had a mix of a bunch of other things, including roughly 30% cash still. So I definitely wasn't completely invested in the stock market at any point in time. Now, I'm not gonna talk too much about these stocks that I held, but generally, all of them actually went up since I sold it. So, I'm just kind of kicking myself a little bit, but not too worrying about it too much. In the order of amounts I actually held, in descending order, I held the most of IXC, which is an oil play. It went up by 5%. BAC, which is the Bank of America, went up by 5%. IRM, Iron Mountain, went up by 8%. AT&T went up by 4%. All of this since I sold it. So this sucks. At most I thought maybe it might go up by 2, 3, 5%, which is what it's at right now. And I said somewhere between 5 and 10% is something I'm willing to accept. And if it shoots beyond this, I'm gonna be pretty mad at myself for calling it too early. Of course, I can't time it perfectly, but if it keeps on rocketing up, I'm probably gonna have a bad case of FOMO, and people online can laugh at me all they want. But generally, from my market timing experience, it's always gonna be like this. You will never, ever sell it right at the peak, and the next day it drops or plummets. If it ever happens like this, I would feel like, oh my gosh, I'm lucky to sell right before it drops. So what I really see happening in reality is after I sell, yeah, the stock market is just gonna keep on going up. It might go up for like another month or two, and I'm just gonna bang my head and I'm just gonna go, oh my gosh, I missed out on all these gains. I could have been rich by now or something. The fact is, when you try to time the market, you could get burned, like me. Am I getting burned right now? Because if I held on and then I sold right now, what if, could have, right? I could have had $20,000 more, and oh my gosh, what can I do with all this? I wouldn't even know what to buy with $20,000 if I were to spend it all today, considering I only spend like $1,200 every single month. But knowing that I lost $20,000, or you don't have to consider this a loss, it's like a loss of potential gains here. I want to go back to talk about my conquests of before. This is in the context of my Bitcoin trade about 2 years ago. My last sale of Bitcoin of 49% of my holdings was around $15,700. Now, after I sold it around that time, Bitcoin proceeded to just keep on rocketing up to around $20,000. And I just kept saying, this is just crazy. It's just crazy. And I had a lot of people make fun of me in the comment section saying, haha, you sold, see you in my Lamborghini, it's gonna go up to $100,000 or whatnot. Because of my sale, you can do the percentages, right? $15,000 to $20,000. This is roughly 27% of gains that I missed out on. So am I gonna see me miss out on 27% of gains? I think it's not as crazy as Bitcoin, okay? The real stock market is not as crazy, so I think I might miss out on up to 10% even. But I can't feel too bad about that because my initial principle just sort of multiplied itself. I had like 350% gain on that Bitcoin trade. I put a good amount of money in there and I made a huge amount, and I keep on repeating this. So, there is some confidence factor that I have to talk myself into, even though in the short term I'm losing a little bit of money, 5% or so. There's something that I learned on my Bitcoin trade over here is that number one, I can't time it perfectly. Number two, it can actually take months for my prediction to come to pass. So some of you guys out there, this is after 1 month of my sale, you're gonna say, hey, you sold it, and right after you sell it, the stock market proceeded to just keep on rocketing up. I've seen this before with Tesla, with Bitcoin. After I sell, I get made fun of. And this is not to say that I am all that confident that, hey, I'm gonna be right at the end. No, this is not something like that. It's just acknowledging that this is something that's going to happen. Whenever I make a sale, people like to come in and, just say, haha, in the short term, the stock market went up. But my time frame for this is really a couple of months or so. So there's more time to wait. We got to wait for more data to come out, the real reasons why I actually sold. You got to wait for all these things to percolate through the market to actually have the market realize that these things is actually going to affect the economy, is actually going to affect the earnings. And I do think that earnings is a direct reflection of the stock market price, because you can't have stock market price high when you have low earnings. I'm going to talk about my other trade of Tesla, which is something else I made very public. I put about 20K in this stock a long time ago, maybe a year ago or so, and I actually made $60,000 profit from this. Now, I sold Tesla around $800. You could argue that, oh my gosh, it went down to like $350 and now it's back up to 850 or something. So, could I have bought at $350 or so? Yes, I could have, but I just sold out, and I'm kind of waiting for it to drop a lot, and then I might pick it back up again. The thing is, this is some lucky trade, some crazy good trade here. I put $20,000 in, and to hope for any kind of investment, making 4x, this is just insane. But I did the same thing with Bitcoin. I did the same thing with Tesla. And I guess I'm gonna let you guys in on what I'm thinking of doing with this huge amount of investment. I don't really care about making this 5%, 10% more. I can forego this because what I'm trying to wait for is a dramatic drop in the stock market, 50% or so. This is the chance for me to put money into the stock market, possibly making double. So in my calculation, this is timing the market after all, and it's not going to work for 99% of the investors out there. But this is what I'd like to do. You guys might be wondering what happened to my TVIX purchase of $1,000 in there. It's true. I only put very little in because I am not super duper confident. This is something that I am sort of managing my risk. I'm not going to be super crazy and, putting it all in on black or something. So I purchased it around $138.95 TVIX, and right now it's at $137.69, about 1% loss or so. And in between, it kind of went up to like 5 to 8% or so. Now, me mentioning this stock ticker symbol is not an endorsement to buy it or sell it or whatever. I am only doing this for entertainment purposes. You gotta consult your own financial advisor if you're gonna do any kind of trades. I'm only talking about my own trades over here, and I don't recommend you guys to follow what I do. The two things I think it's gonna be a catalyst for the stock market to have dramatic falls that's coming up in another 3 to 6 weeks or so is the Q2 earnings season. How do you take a look at this? I personally use TD Ameritrade because they have this nice calendar that says how many stocks are actually releasing their earnings on those particular days. And you can see like a heat map on when this generally happens, generally sometime over in mid-July. So when they do release this, and most companies are gonna report really terrible earnings, and I think this is when the stock market is going to have a real reaction, and this might be a reckoning time where it might drop a lot. The second thing that might be a real drag on the stock market is when the $600 unemployment thing runs out at the end of July. When this runs out, a lot of people are not going to earn more money just sitting at home than working. They're actually going to feel the pain of not having more money. They're actually going to possibly default on rent payments, on mortgage payments. And my anticipation of the upcoming laws is that this $600 is not going to get extended. When this happens, this is when a lot of bad things is going to happen. So, you know, not that I'm wishing for it to happen, but this is what I'm seeing happen. So based on this, unless these things get patched up, then I would probably buy into the stock market. With these things looming, I still am somewhat confident that the stock market is going to have a dramatic fall come sometime beginning of July, let's say. Now, we still have roughly 3 or 4 weeks until this actually happens. So until then, it could very well that the stock market keeps on trickling up, but until then, I'm not going to be invested. I am just too scared that it's just going to plummet. It's a really, really fast fall when it happens, and I don't want to be anywhere near it, even if I'm going to make a few percent more gains, right? It's like I don't want to be there playing a game of chicken. It's like, okay, how far can I push it and get that little few last percentage before I pull out? I don't know when investors are going to start freaking out. So I rather pull out of this and try to dodge this dramatic drop if it ever comes to pass. Last thing I want to cover is this GDP that's projected to fall nearly 53% in the second quarter, annualized probably, according to the Fed gauge. 53% GDP drop. Like 5% is a big thing, but 53%, it's going to be huge. I think this might potentially cause more than 50% drop from the peak of the S&P. More than that. I am estimating it might be as bad as 80%, but I don't want to, you know, go into this doom and gloom phase or something, but this much GDP drop, and it looks like things are gonna not bounce back. This virus thing is still out there. I hope you guys kind of take in the severity of this, and you can't just kind of brush it off because the Fed is pumping money into it. A lot of people like to say, don't fight against the Fed or anything. Yeah, this is kind of like betting against the Fed, but I feel like all these macroeconomic things that's happening, it's going to overpower whatever the Fed can do. Remember back in the financial crisis, they keep on doing all these monetary easing thing. They're like, oh yeah, let's try doing this, let's try doing this. The thing is, they have tools, they have like these threats saying, oh yeah, we're going to do this and prop up the market. And then investors go, oh no, the Fed has these tools. We better stay invested because, you know, this is going to keep on going up because of them. I personally think the Fed can get overpowered a little bit. You know, look at the financial crisis. It does happen. So that's all I have for you for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just take my opinions with a grain of salt. Just kind of integrate it with what you think personally. Don't do what I'm doing, of course. I have to take my own responsibility of not making that potential $20,000, but of course, I'm trying to avert losing half of my principal over here. Thanks for watching this video. Again, check out my Webull referral link down below if you guys are interested in getting those 2 free stocks. Don't forget to give me a like on this video. Comment down below. Let me know if you're in the same boat or you're just laughing at me making these videos saying I sold, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this guy just keeps on saying he sold, even though look at the market right now, it just keeps on going up, right? And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.